Hola y buenos días. Soy yo, el señor Morris, el maestro de español. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Today, we'll review the place settings for a table and some of the foods that we've talked about in preparation for practice ordering food at a restaurant. But before we do any of that, let's go ahead and get started with our opening song. Canten conmigo. Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Cómo se sienten? Yo me siento bien. Muy bien cantado. Well, I tell you what. First of all, let's go ahead and go over the places that we set at a table, okay? Do you remember from last time? And if you still have your things from last time, you can use those. Primero, tenemos este. Se llama el plato. El plato. You should have all of these in your notes, right? And hopefully you got a chance to go over those some more after our last lesson. Pongo el plato aquí. Esta es la servilleta. La servilleta. Yes. And we use this to clean our boca or las manos. Okay? Pongo la servilleta aquí. Luego tenemos este. Es el tenedor. El tenedor. Okay. Y pongo el tenedor aquí. Remember, it goes over to this side on the left side, okay? Este es el cuchillo. Este es el cuchillo. Okay? Cuidado que no se cortan con el cuchillo. Please be careful, don't cut yourself. Pongo el cuchillo aquí, a la derecha, to the right side, and you put the blade facing in towards the plate. Okay? Luego tenemos esta. Esta es la cuchara. La cuchara. And we said these come in a couple of different sizes, right? But for our purposes, we're going to talk about this one, la cuchara. Pongo la cuchara aquí. And finally, tenemos este. Este es el vaso. El vaso. That's right. Have you ever heard the word vase in English? You know, vase, perhaps? You put flowers in it? Un vaso. Yeah. Pongo el vaso aquí. Kind of over towards the left side. And that's how you set the table. So when someone tells you, pon la mesa, por favor, now you'll know how to lay it out. Well, I tell you what. Now that we know all of the things that we're going to use to eat and what we're going to be eating on, let's talk about what we can eat. Okay? Let's review these foods by looking at the activity sheet for today. It's called El Menú. And what I need for all of you to do is to look at the menu and fill in any of the missing words. Okay, so we're going to complete this menu by looking at the picture and filling in the missing words. Go ahead and start off by putting your name up at the top of the paper. Roberto. Okay. And here we have el menú. Again, it's a cognate. So, you know, it's a menu. And this is for the Restaurante El Gallo. The restaurant El Gallo. And right over here is a gallo. Yeah. So kind of like the rooster restaurant. Let's go ahead and start over here. Okay, we're going to start off with these. And this is called ensaladas. Ensaladas. And you can see here is a bowl of ensaladas. And if you take off the N, what does that look like? Saladas, salads. Ensaladas are salads. Okay, the first one we're going to have here is ensalada de, what are these? Do you remember what these are? Ensaladas de, can you help me out there? Verduras. Very good. Let's go ahead and write that on to the menu. De verduras. Okay, there's our first choice, is ensalada de verduras. And if we want that, we can see that that's going to be 300, maybe pesos. Ah, that'd be expensive. We'll see. The next one that we have here, ensalada de, what are these? You might want a salad made out of frutas. Ensalada de frutas. Go ahead and write that onto your activity sheet. Ensalada de frutas. Okay, very good. The next section in our menu has sopas. Sopas. Now, go ahead and start off with this one. Sopa de, and again we see these things. What might we get a soup made out of? We might get a soup made out of verduras. Sopa de verduras. So go ahead and write that onto your activity sheet. Sopa de verduras. Okay, sopa de verduras. Okay, or this next one here, you might want a sopa de, what are these? You know what those are? Sopa de papas. Sopa de papas. Potato soup. Well, that sounds pretty good to me. Is it getting close to lunchtime where you are? Does all this talk about food make you hungry? Sopa de papas. Okay. Now, let's look at this next one. These next two are a bit unusual. We wouldn't consider these two to be soups, would we? Well, sopas are dishes that accompany things, and they could be what we call soups, but they could also be these types of foods, which are termed sopas in many Spanish-speaking countries. Well, let's look at this first one. Do you remember what this one is, guys? I'll give you a hint. It's the one where you get to roll your R. Arroz. Arroz, and this is spaghetti. Spaghetti, I always like that. Platos fuertes, those are the main dishes. And here we can see what these are. Let's go ahead and start off with this first one here. Would you like some chicken? Well, if you want it in Spanish, you're going to have to ask for pollo. Pollo. Remember that is our spelling word. When was it? Last class? The class before? Pollo. Okay. Maybe you're in the mood for some beef. If you do, you might want to get one of these steaks. In Spanish, this is called a bistec. 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 And I wonder if that came from beef steak. Bistec. The next one down here, you might want to get some of this. Brain food, you know. This is pescado. 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 Okay. And the last one that we see here, again, these are all protein foods, aren't they? We talked about carne y frijoles. Frijoles. So go ahead and get that copied down into there. Frijoles. One of the things that you might want to do is think about the names of these letters in Spanish as you write the words out. Frijoles. Okay, over here at the side, we might want to get some side orders, huh? We might want to get an order of this. What is this called? Un orden de what? Pan. Okay, if you'd like that. Or if you'd like these, which I really like, you might want to ask for un orden de tortillas. Tortillas. And that's pretty common to be able to go and ask for that at a restaurant. Postres. Well, here we see ice cream and yogurt and even cheese are postres. These are desserts. Postres are desserts. So, this first one here, we might not consider this a dessert, but in many Spanish-speaking countries they do. This is cheese or queso. Queso. Queso, it's like a dessert cheese. Next we have this, which is a milk product, producto lácteo, and it's on there. That makes it pretty easy as yogurt. Yogurt, or you might want to have some helado, some ice cream. And finally, bebidas. What are these going to be? They are drinks. Drinks. Now the first thing that you might want to get with your meal is this, which is, it says right on there, it makes it pretty easy, leche. Leche. Leche, or milk. But if you don't want milk, you might want some juice of some type, some jugo. Jugo de, what is this? This is jugo de naranja, orange juice. Naranja, jugo de naranja, or maybe you'd like this, jugo de manzana. Jugo de manzana. Manzana. Jugo de manzana. And then down at the bottom, what do they always say on a menu? They always got to tell you, gracias. Well, now that we have our table set, and we know the names of some of the foods that we can order, we need to know how to ask for food. Now, if you want the waiter or waitress to bring you something, you say to him or her, me trae por favor. Repitan todos. Me trae por favor. Okay. Me, you bring, trae, and then you say what you want. Por favor means please. So, please bring me this. So if you wanted, let's say, the first thing that's there on your menu, go ahead and look on your menu and you see what it is. You see what it is? The ensalada de verduras. Okay. How are you going to ask for that? How will you ask the waiter to bring that? You will say, me trae ensalada de verduras, por favor. Got that? Repitan todos. Me trae ensalada de verduras, por favor. Right. There you go. Muy bien. Now, when the waiter or waitress brings it to you, can anyone guess what you should say? Do you remember what to say? If somebody brings you something, you say, gracias. That's right. Remember to tell them, thank you. Well, using the place settings and the foods that we've been studying about and our ability to ask someone to bring us something, I had some students come in here and join me in the studio when we were studying about restaurants. And a fellow teacher came in and she acted as our waitress. So right now, I'd like for all of you to join me as we watch this video about practicing to use Spanish in a restaurant. Restaurante El Gallo. Now, I've heard the service here is really great.
Buenos días, señores. Bienvenidos al restaurante El Gallo. ¿Qué les sirvo?
Well, let's see, guys. First of all, it looks like I'm missing something here at my place setting. What can you see that I'm missing at my place setting that you all have at your place settings? What am I missing, guys?
A cup. Fruit.
A cup. And what do we call this in Spanish?
Frutas.
What do we call this?
Oh, that's pencil.
Un
Vaso. Vaso.
Un vaso. So the first thing I want her to bring me is un vaso. So I'll say, me trae un vaso, por favor.
Muy bien, un momentito, por favor.
See, the service around here is really good. They're really nice and quick, too.
Aquí está su vaso, señor.
Okay, gracias. Well, are you guys hungry? Shall we go ahead and order something? Okay.
So, ¿qué le puedo traer?
Me trae una manzana, por favor.
Muy bien.
'Cause I
¿Y a
really-
usted qué le puedo traer?
Pan.
Por
Por favor.
Muy bien, pan. ¿Y a usted qué le traigo?
Me trae tortilla, por favor.
Muy bien, ¿cómo
Ooh,
no?
that's one of my favorites, too. Yeah.
¿Y a usted qué le traigo?
Me trae yogurto, por favor.
Muy bien. ¿Y a usted qué le traigo?
Me trae pollo, por favor.
Muy bien, ahorita vuelvo, señores.
Let's see. Una manzana,
Ok. Dice, una manzana,
pan,
pan,
tortillas.
pollo y yogurt. Muy bien.
Muy
Ahorita lo
bien.
traigo. Gracias.
Okay. Muy bien. That's what it's like for eating in a restaurant. Now that was a lot of fun. And it's the same kind of thing that you guys can do in your classroom if you want to. Maybe you can cut up some of the foods from the activity sheets that we've used. If you have plastic settings, you can use that, or you can cut out the place settings from the activity sheets. Some of the students can be patrons in a restaurant. Some of the students can be waiters or waitresses. Maybe the teacher can be involved ordering or taking orders. Hey, give it a try in your classroom. It's a good way to go over the things that we've been doing. Well, that's about all that we have time for today. We got to review several things about place settings and foods and how to order foods and all of that. Next time, we'll take a video trip to a market in Mexico and also learn about cooking a typical Spanish dish from Spain called la torta española. But that's all we have time for today, so our goodbye song today, let's see. How about Las Mañanitas? And this one will be for all of you who've just had a birthday or those of you who are going to have a birthday real soon. Las Mañanitas, the birthday song. Canten conmigo. Estas son las mañanitas que cantaba Rey David, pero no eran tan bonitas como las cantan aquí. Despierta, mi bien, despierta, mira que ya amaneció. Ya los pajarillos cantan, la luna ya se metió. Happy birthday to all you guys. Feliz cumpleaños. I'll see you next class. Until then, adiós y hasta luego.